Today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the Quacks of Quedlinburg, which I will just call the Quacks from now on because I can't pronounce that last word properly. I don't own the game, but I played it twice. This is a photo of our last game. The game is basically about brewing this potion. It's a push your luck bag building game where you are pulling tokens out of a bag and trying to advance as far as possible on your own personal potion track. And the farther you get, the more resources you have to spend that round. It's a 9-round game, and the more points you have to gain at the end of that round as well. And the one really neat thing to understand about this game is that there's only one type of token that will make you bust. It's this light blue token that you can see on there, and you start off with a bunch of those tokens in the bag. Once you pull out a value of them that is 7 or higher, you bust. And so you're trying to brew a potion that's as good as possible each round without busting. I'll get back to why that matters in a second. So there's a lot of cool stuff about this game. I am really enjoying it. And a few quick things that I enjoy about it. I like that there's a reason to pay attention to the other players in terms of how far along this track you get each round. Because as you're pulling stuff out of the bag, you're very focused on what you're doing. But there are certain tokens that make you look at other players, and the player who gets the furthest on this track gets to roll a die, the first thing after the potion brewing phase. They get to roll this die and get a random reward. And so you're always kind of hoping that you'll push farther ahead than anyone else, but most of all, you don't want to bust. So you're paying attention to that as well. There is a couple different layers of engine building in it. There's that you're putting more tokens in your bag, and so you're kind of deciding as you're putting these tokens in the bag, do I buy, what types of tokens do I buy? Like, do I buy tokens that are higher value because they move you further on the track, or do I buy more tokens so that my bag is more diluted, which is really cool about this game. Unlike many other deck building games, you actually really want to dilute your bag. You want as many tokens in here as possible so that you're not drawing out those basic bust tokens. Bust, not bus tokens. So that's the thing. You're deciding, do I want more tokens at this time, or do I want the higher value token that might be better? What else? Looking at my notes here. There's another choice at the end of each round. You have these rubies that you can spend if you've earned the rubies. And those rubies you can spend on either advancing your start token. So let's see if we can find it. There's a red wooden token right there that starts out on 0 at the beginning of the game, but you can move it throughout the course of the game to advance your starting position each round. So you can spend rubies to move that token, or you can spend rubies to flip. You can't see it over here. This little tile over there. Basically, when you're pulling stuff out of your bag, if that tile is active and you pull, say, a 2 or a 3 that you really don't want, you don't want to put out those high 2 or 3 tokens, the bust tokens, then you can flip over this little tile there and put that token back in the bag. As long as that token didn't itself make you bust, you can put it back in the bag using that token. So you can spend rubies on that instead. So you're deciding, do I want to improve my engine, or do I want to improve my chances of doing a great job this upcoming round? But anyway, I've talked about a lot of stuff here. Hopefully that's some good food for thought. But my favorite mechanism of the game is the push your luck element itself, and basically the repercussions of pushing your luck. Because in a lot of push your luck games, it is a lot of fun to push your luck, but if you fail, if you bust, you often don't get anything. You're just out of luck that round, and you push too hard. And that's your own fault. You decided that you were going to push your luck, and luck didn't help you. In this game, if you end the round and you don't bust, you get A, you're eligible to be in the first place spot. B, you get currency based on how far up on the track you advanced. And C, you get victory points. I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. If you bust, you only get victory points or you get money. So you still get something, and it actually gives you a really interesting decision. At any point in the game, do you say, okay, do I want the points now, or do I want to continue to build my engine for the rest of the game? Which is a decision that you encounter in many bag building and deck building games, but you encounter it in a very different time and way. This gives you that decision every time you bust. Do you take the points, or do you take the currency to buy more stuff to improve your engine? And that choice is really interesting. In the last game that I played, I think I busted twice. And once was very late in the game, and I had to kind of gauge, okay, do I go ahead and take the points? Do I take the currency? Because I think I had 2 more rounds after that. And I was tied for first with someone else who decided not to take the points. And so I could have taken the points and jumped ahead, but hurt my engine, but I didn't. I ended up losing by 1 point. So that decision really, really mattered in that game. And it does make you look at how the other positions of the other players. But overall, I do really like that you at least have that choice. You get something when you bust. But there's still a strong incentive not to bust. Clearly, you still want to get the currency and the points if possible. Anyway, I've had a lot of fun with this game. I would love to hear your thoughts on your favorite mechanism on the Quacks of Quedlinburg. And if you have any other games, if these mechanisms make you think of any other games that, especially a push your luck game where there's an incentive to push your luck and get further, do better, but it also doesn't ruin your game. You still get something if you fail. I'd love to hear other examples of games that use that mechanism. All right, that's it. I'll see you on Sunday for my Sunday sit-down video. Take care.